Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're a decent amount of ways into the off season now, and a couple teams have been active. The Braves, the White Sox, the Mets, even the Angels, and then a couple of moves, here and there for other teams as well. But one of the big moves that hasn't happened yet is the Yankees re-signing DJ LeMahieu, and I know they've been back and forth, and it's according to reports now, he wants a 5-year, $125 million contract. And the Yankees are at like 4 years, I think close to $80 million. So they're a little bit of a ways off. So does it mean there's a stalemate? I do think the Yankees will wind up probably going 5 years, but not 125, maybe 5 years, 100. But I don't know. I really don't know. But with that said, there are other moves that the Yankees need to make. And my only, especially as a diehard Yankee fan, my worry is, by waiting for things to kind of unfold with DJ LeMahieu, get a resolution on it, that they might miss opportunities to address other issues, particularly pitching and depth in certain areas. And so I want to talk about three moves or three things that they should do while they're waiting to re-sign DJ LeMahieu. I think it's really, really important for them to do that. And again, last thing I would want them to do is, again, like I said, miss out on him and then miss out on the guys they wanted to sign, and then that would suck. That would really, really suck. And it's happened before, and I don't want it to happen again because teams are kind of being sneaky, grabbing this one, grabbing that one, and through a signing, a free agency, or whatever it is. I mean, for a trade and a free agent signing. And again, there are players, even though the relief market is deep, there's still, Yankees need to plug some holes on the relief market, starting pitching, as well as some other holes as well. I mean, the 3 starters are gone. Brett Gardner's gone. And even though they have guys like Mike Ford and Tauchman and a couple other guys, Tyler Wade, Diaro Estrada and stuff like that, I think they need an upgrade. And the teams now have made it. They've been reaching out to Brian Cashman about Mike Tauchman's availability. So there's quite a few teams apparently interested in him. I don't know what they're going to get back for him, but we'll see. But I do think this, some guys that would represent upgrades. So let's talk about 3 things, that I think the Yankees should do. And let me know what you think. I want to know what your thoughts are. Especially as Yankee fans, we played mock GM all the time. And so I'm really curious to know what you think. Number 1, I'm looking at my baseball book. Obviously, sign a starting pitcher. Now we know, Luis Castillo is also available, as well as Sonny Gray. The Sonny Gray experiment in New York did not pan out, so I would not revisit that. But Luis Castillo is a bona fide number 1 or number 2 guy, and he would slide in perfectly behind Garrett Cole. And even though he's going to cost a boatload of money, the Yankees still do have the assets. And this is probably one of the few opportunities or the few times that I would consider trading Luke Voit. Okay? Because even if they trade Luke Voit and they don't sign DJ LeMahieu, they could still bring in somebody to play first base. Now it opens up a spot for them to bring in like a Kyle Schwarber or somebody like that. Never know. His lefty bat would fit perfectly in Yankee Stadium. And, before, there would not have been a fit. Now there would be. So, just a thought there. But, in terms of starting pitcher, I have a couple of people in mind here. Carlos Rodon, who's a 28-year-old starter who was formerly with the White Sox. They now tendered him. Jose Quintana, who was with the White Sox and the Cubs. And then John Lester, another veteran pitcher. He's older, but he's got championships from the Cubs and Boston. He's playoff tested. But the common theme between these guys is they're all lefty. And, the Yankees currently, they're out Happ, out Paxton, and probably most likely Tanaka as well. So I think a starting pitcher from the left-hand side would be helpful, particularly one that can go innings. And at the very least, and I don't care if it's a 4.0 ERA. If you can put him in a position to win, even if you last 6 innings and you give up 3 runs, that's like a 4.0 ERA, okay? And give your bullpen a chance to kind of come in and close things out or keep them in the game. I would take that any day of the week. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't been indicative of a lot of the Yankees. The potential was there, but the health was not, or the consistency was not there. We'd have a guy go 6 innings strong, and then the next game go 2 innings and give up 7 runs. And that's our elite bullpen was getting worn down far too many times. So, and then we had these, starting Chad Green and then different, it was wasting, we're wasting pitchers. And unfortunately, so I mean, personally, I'm of the opinion that the Yankees should bring in 2 starters. One via free agency, or maybe 2, or one via free agency and one via trade. Like, the only time I would be bold is to get a guy like Luis Castillo in a trade. I would stop even thinking about Blake Snell. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to trade their ace pitcher to their now rival in the American League. And it would cost way too much. So any one of those 3 guys and or a trade for a Luis Castillo, if possible, would be really, 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 really beneficial. And at the same time, give them a little bit of depth so that they can continue to slowly build Davy Garcia back. Okay, I just let him add innings. He's young. He's only 21. Same applies for Clark Schmidt. He can maybe be a long relief guy and then transition into a pitcher. He's another power arm. He reminds me of Kerry Wood when he's healthy. So, and I do think he has the, although he might have to be included in the trade for somebody like Castillo. So, those guys. And then I'll also give them enough depth to ease Luis Severino back and Domingo Germán. So, Domingo Germán, even though he missed a year and he's been kind of shaken too, that's only 2 games or 3 games after missing a whole entire year. So, he's going to take some time to ease back, just like Luis Severino. He won't be. I don't think he'll be at full strength until 2022, in my opinion. Whatever we get from him in 2021 for the second half of the season is what we get. But if he can establish good health and come back the following year, and then he'll be a legitimate, number 2 or number 3 if Castillo is there or whatever. So, we'd have the pieces then. And at the same time, and I like, bringing in guys like that, and he's in, but particularly on the right-hand side, because I don't know if you noticed, but Tampa Bay crushes lefties. So we need guys from the right-hand side to, like Cole, to kind of offset those types of things. And I think Tampa Bay is going to be good for quite some time. But I'm talking about, easing the load off of these starters, which takes me to my next logical move, which is to sign 1 or 2 relievers, reliable relievers. Okay, I have some guys in mind here. The obvious ones: Brad Hand, Blake Treinen. Liam Hendricks is the sexy name. I think he's going to cost a little bit too much. And with the Yankees, depending on what they do with DJ LeMahieu, they might not have as much payroll flexibility. So a guy like Archie Bradley will come in. He was only projected to make about $4 or $5 million this year, which is a perfect salary for a guy at his level. And maybe if you bring in Bradley and Brad Hand, or Treinen and Brad Hand, you have one from each side, particularly to replace Tommy Conley, who is out, and to give us some more depth. To protect that, the back end of the game, but to help protect the pitching rotation as well, the starting rotation. So at least 2 of those guys would be good. And could you imagine if they let's say if they bring in a Rondon or a Lester and these 2 relievers? They've taken steps to get better. They're not all the way there yet, but at the very least, we've gotten a little bit better incrementally. So I don't think Trevor Bauer is going to happen, and I think he's going to cost way too much. And as much as it intrigues me, I would personally, I'd rather trade for a Castillo and bring in 2 relievers than bring in a Trevor Bauer. There's no guarantee he's going to be the ace, or another ace, I should say, for a bunch of years. There's no guarantee. If you look at his stats, he's inconsistent. He's on and off. He's on and off. So he had a great year last year, but it doesn't mean he's going to be Cy Young material moving forward. So it's just my thought. I hope he is, but there's no guarantee. So, and the third move is to sign a versatile utility guy. And what I mean by that is a guy who can play either multiple infield positions or infield and outfield with some versatility, that would also represent an upgrade over, the Theo Estrada and Tyler Wade and maybe Mike Tauchman and Mike Ford, like somebody a little bit more, somebody who's athletic, but who's a little bit better on the bat and can play multiple positions, which would give the Yankees some depth, which would be good too. And some guys I had in mind, like a Jurickson Profar or Tommy La Stella, I think would be a good fit. And plus, in my opinion, he'd have an opportunity to play a lot of games. I think the Yankees, the way that they're constructed, even those guys, I think it's good to have 162 games. Have guys either play 4 games and take a day off, or 3 games and take a day off, which would put them at between 120, 135, 140 games per season. But those regular days off would help, I think, keep some of them healthy without kind of overdoing it and then pulling in whatever muscle and then missing 2 months, which it's mind-boggling in my opinion, to begin with. But guys like this who offer versatility, who can help, in multiple positions, even they could bring in 2 of them, which would help. And again, they're not very old. Profar's 28. I think Listella might be 31 or 30, but they represent an upgrade over what we currently have now, and that's key. Okay, and Listella was clutch last year. I think we need a couple more clutch guys. What DJ was. DJ was good. He was consistent whether the team was good or bad, and this was a very streaky team. They win 15 games and then they would lose 10 out of 12, and that's kind of the way it was this year. It was a bizarre year. So, but we need guys like that who can just be consistent on a regular basis, reliable starters. We can just go out there, they can give you 6 innings more often than not. Keep the team in the game and let the lineup do the rest. And guys like this that can give the opportunity for them to rest guys regularly. I mean, like I said, the way the team constructed, I think most of the players there need regular rest, and one day makes a difference if it's spread out every so often, even if it's one day off a week. For the players, it will make a difference in a 162 game season. It will. So those are 3 moves I think they should make. Okay. I do think they can get 1 of each. That would be a pretty solid offseason. If they don't re-sign DJ, I think you kind of move up to the next tier. Maybe you talk about a trade for a higher tier player, and then like a trade for a superstar shortstop, and you move Torres over to second, and you keep Voit or whatever it is. But I think I particularly would not wait until DJ's situation is resolved to start addressing these. I hope that they don't, and as my fear is that they're going to miss out. Before we know it, somebody else is going to come off the board, and someone else is going to come off the board, and someone else is going to come off the board, and those guys were on the Yankees list too. So I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. Let me know what you think, what they should do, and who they should bring in and whatnot. And just give me as much details as you can. I want to know what your thoughts are. Put them in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like baseball content, make sure you do that now and hit the notification next to it so you don't miss the videos I'm going to be putting out after this. So I got a whole bunch, okay? And I appreciate your support, everybody, new folks, people that have been with me since the beginning. And let me know if you subscribe in the comments so I can personally thank you. I really, really appreciate the support. Again, I want to make this into one of the best baseball channels out there. So with that, be safe and take care of each other. And I'll talk to you soon.